Let's go. Ha. Let's have a good time tonight. Who is ready to fire up another fun PHL live stream? Once again, share this with the entire world that we are the best LSU football channel on the planet. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about Brian Kelly, positive vibes that he actually finds a way to get us a top 10 recruiting class. Obviously, a lot of you are excited. Harold Perkins is visiting. JaCOBY MATHEWS is visiting. You know what's interesting? Do we really need to reevaluate college football recruiting rankings, obviously, with the transfer portal? So obviously, we have a lot to get to today. Okay. Now, I actually want to start tonight with my favorite LSU player of all time. And, there's some that are up there, right? So like Chad Lavallee, I love a lot. Glenn Dorsey, I love a lot. Jacob Hester, love a lot. Jarvis Landry, Terrence Tolliver, Lau Hitt. There are so many that I just love. Some big, some not so big, right? But the guy I decided to center a big part of my life around is Tyrann Mathieu, right? You could see a bunch of rare Tyrann Mathieu cards to the left of my head, right? Those are really rare Tyrann Mathieu cards. And everything he says inspires me to a certain degree. And he said something pretty interesting today. And obviously, this is something that a lot of you talked about today. I hate the transfer portal. I sat behind Pat P, Mo Claiborne, and I loved it. Made me hustle harder, work harder, pushed me to greatness. It's very interesting, right? So obviously the poll question to start tonight is, do you like the transfer portal? And the answer is pretty simple. You should love it, right? Anything that gives players more power is a good thing more often than not, okay? And I actually do agree with players getting more power and having more control over their careers. But I also agree with Tyrann when it comes to this, right? Sometimes the situations are to be better. And I do think after 1 year, if you decide to transfer, it's a little gun shy, especially if your coach remains where they are now. So I don't think Tyrann Mathieu saying, I hate the transfer portal. Obviously, he likes it because it's helped out LSU. Out of anybody on the planet Earth that was as excited about the Arkansas transfers, Tyrann Mathieu was probably the biggest, right? He has some relationship with Joe Fuchsia. And Tyrann Mathieu is pretty excited that Joe joined us. So, number one, the transfer portal has been mostly good for LSU, right? Not necessarily graduate transfers. Those have been phenomenal for LSU. So that's what we're going to start tonight's show off with today, because obviously our recruiting class is what it is now because of the transfer portal. We start off tonight with Danny. We welcome in Chris. We welcome in SMC. We welcome in PLG. We welcome in Keith. Jasmine. We appreciate you, Jasmine. He's got 2 thumbs and a new PHL shirt. Shout out to you, Jared. I love it. So it's pretty simple, right? I think we all agree that we're all big time. He's the most popular LSU football player of all time, not named Joe Burrow. And yeah, I think, because Twitter is only 140 characters, that he wasn't able to allow nuance into that conversation. Once again, I do think Tyrann Mathieu doesn't think the transfer portal is evil. I know some of you feel that way, though. Some of you feel the transfer portal is ruining college football. But at the same time, the transfer portal, especially now with the new rule that you could sign up to 32 players, it makes it better for a lot of LSU football players. And it makes it better, obviously, for LSU's current situation. Jared says he's not wearing pants. That's obviously great. Creek. This is very important as far as the transfer portal is concerned. Joe Burrow was not a transfer portal quarterback. He was a graduate transfer. So it is different. Joe Burrow did not have to sit out a year. He was able to play immediately because he was already a graduate. Yes. So once again, that wasn't me saying that. I know a few people did. So Joe Burrow was a graduate transfer. But guys like Braden Fiocco, right? He had to sit out a full year. Thad Moss had to sit out a full year, and then he actually redshirted the next year, and then he only played one season at LSU despite spending 3 in Baton Rouge. So every player's journey is unique in and of itself. And something else to bring up about Tyrann Mathieu is that he actually did play day one. He was a major contributor day one. We don't beat North Carolina without Tyrann Mathieu, and that was the first ever game he's ever played. So yeah, it's also very interesting. Yes, he sat behind Morris Claiborne and Patrick Peterson. He also played a slightly different position than those guys. He actually played alongside them, and that was probably our best secondary ever, right? 2011 or 2010, pick one, right? So it's interesting. DRC says, I'm starting to embrace the portal. It is what it is. If we don't use it, then we'll just end up with nothing. Well, there you go. So we welcome in Dez. I also want to start the live stream off. I know a lot of you watch this after the fact. Let me know, do you guys prefer the live streams to start at 8 p.m. Central, or do you prefer it at 7 p.m. Central? I moved it back an hour to give more people time to get off work. We started getting more West Coast viewers, but at the same time, we're not having as many viewers to start the live stream. So right now, type 7 for 7 Central, type 8 for 8 Central. I know for my girl Danny on the East Coast, 9, it's pretty late over there. Brett likes 8 Central. Let me know what you guys think. Skipper prefers 8. Gasly says, I can still watch Rufino and you. So Blake starts at 8. Ed prefers 8. Brandon prefers 7. You like it at 8. So that's the thing. My views have gone down since moving it back to 8. But since a lot of you say 8, I'll look at the analytics. I don't look at it too close too often. So a lot of you watch AYS at 7 and then me at 8. Okay, cool. Nebraska at 8, right? Let's go. What's up, Fred? Good to see you. So there you go. I guess we'll stick with 8. Valenti prefers 7. So here's what we'll do. We'll mix it up, right? We'll keep it at 8 for now, but I'll keep an eye out for the analytics. I watch on my TV, so usually after the wife goes to bed, so 8 Central works better for me. That's very interesting. Jared prefers 8 to 9. So there you go. Obviously, King Robert, there you are. Love it. The live stream is always better with our King Roberto. Jared says he works late, so there you go. So, look, as far as the transfer portal is concerned, I think what Tyrann Mathieu is saying, right? Let's be honest. So many players still look up to Tyrann Mathieu. So his word does carry a lot of weight. I do think part of his message, portal plus NIL deals equals who wants to buy a championship. And Keith is our first super chatter tonight. Keith, I love it. I know I think you're newer. I'm loving the photo here. I just love smiles with the kiddos. Shout out to all the super dads. I believe this is your son. So if you're a super dad or a super mom, shout out to you, Danny. It goes a long way. It really does. So yeah, it is interesting. Portal puts NIL deals who wants to buy a championship. You know what? This still has stuck with me, right? This has really, really stuck with me. The Jermaine Burton transfer, right? Now, it would have made a lot of sense if he would have gone to LSU, right? Because he would have been following his position coach. And a lot of people like to be with the same position coach. Now, what's really fascinating, and this is what I just flat out love, is that he goes to Alabama, the team that he just beat in the national championship, right? Because, Jermaine Burton basically going to Alabama is him saying, look, Stetson Bennett, you won us a national championship, but you're actually trash. I want to play with a better quarterback. King Roberto. I love it. Shout out to you, King Robert. You guys know I'm dead serious. We wouldn't have a channel if it wasn't for King Robert. We wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for King Robert. Chef Leandria, look at the love. I'm loving it, baby. Do dog moms count? Do they count? Do they? Do they? Guys, me and Haley are going through something right now with our car situation, right? We were promised floor mats, but we didn't get the floor mats on Haley's new ride. And I say new ride, it's been 6 months. 6 months. Jared rocking the new shirt. Look at that. Look at that. My God, you're so handsome, Jared. Look at that. If I could, I wish I could give you a big old PHL hug right now. So there you go. If you want to be a member of the T-shirt club, I'm actually wearing my old shirt. You can still actually buy this shirt if you prefer this shirt. It is linked down below. But I prefer you actually get a new shirt, right? We have a bunch of new T-shirt members, including Jared. King Robert's also a T-shirt member. Also, Nathan. Shout out to Nathan. And the Master Blaster. King Robert, I just wouldn't be here without you. I'm dead serious. So, yeah, King Robert, man, he's the best. And I get to talk to you, obviously, privately and get to know more about your crazy, fun life and your courageous battle. You're the man. You're the man. So, obviously, the next topic, we're so close to the early signing period. So obviously on Tuesday, we will have our normal 8 p.m. Central live stream. Then on Wednesday, we will do more than likely a 7 p.m. Central live stream next week for National Signing Day. And what we do know today is Harold Perkins has announced when he is going to commit. And that will be on the glorious time of 1:15 Central. T-Mill, thank you for the donation, man. I deeply appreciate you. Yeah, I'm dead serious, man. Haley and I talk about Robert all the freaking time. The Master Blaster. Let's go, King Robert. Bromance. I know a lot of people are like, God, Carter and Robert got a bromance going on here. But we got so many bromances, man. Me and DRC and his dolphin photo. I just love this photo. I have no idea what's going on. It's just great. For those that don't know, DRC is secretly a big Tua fan. Get it? Because dolphin. That was a bad joke. Let me think of a famous LSU Tiger that played for the Dolphins. Devon Godchow, Jarvis Landry. Wait, is there really no famous LSU Tigers that played for the Dolphins? Anyway, T-Mill, you get to pick the next topic after Valenti. Thoughts on that Jamar Chase article I texted you earlier. Also, it's Harold Perkins season this weekend. So to continue with the Harold Perkins situation, right? So he's going to announce his commitment on Wednesday at 1:15 Central. This is obviously going to be one of LSU's biggest commitments if he does land. He is definitely going to be LSU's highest rated defensive player to commit since Derek Stingley. So Derek Stingley was the number 3 overall prospect. Harold Perkins has moved up to number 4 overall. So we'll see what he decides to do. Mark Gumby is a new member of the T-shirt club. Shout out to you, Mark. And there you go. So, Mark, obviously, we're friends on Twitter. Shoot me a DM of your favorite LSU players, and we'll obviously settle up. And your T-shirt size. Hope it's not XXL because I'm out of those. So, yeah, Harold Perkins, he's going to commit on Wednesday. And, Mark, you get to pick the next topic after T-Mill and Valenti. Okay? So, Harold Perkins, we'll see. I have no idea up to this point. You guys know how much I love his tape. Obviously, there are some extracurriculars surrounding Harold Perkins because there's been some drama surrounding his recruitment. But he is a transcendent player. Now, part of my Harold Perkins skepticism is that it is going to take a little bit for us to figure out what his best position actually is, right? Where exactly does he fit on the defense? Is he just a situational pass rusher early in his career? I don't know. But let's hope he actually does pick LSU. I do think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, though. So we'll see. Now, Valenti's Jamar Chase article that he is referencing is Les Miles. Jamar Chase said in an interview earlier this week that Les Miles wanted Jamar Chase to play defensive back, which is the reason why he initially committed to Kansas. He decommitted. He was supposed to commit to TCU. NFL Network canceled his commitment announcement. Then he ended up committing to Florida. He was going to Florida. Jim McElwain gets fired. He decommits from Florida, and then he magically ends up at LSU with Ed Orgeron. It was a miracle. Everything about Jamar Chase at LSU is a miracle. Everything about the 2019 team is a miracle in and of itself, right? It wasn't all Terrace Marshalls, 5 stars. It was a lot of so it's 100. It took an act of what for him to end up at LSU, and we are very fortunate that he did. Now, you know what's interesting, Valenti? I don't know if a lot of you saw Brandon Taylor's thoughts on the Les Miles thing. And Brandon Taylor obviously loves Les Miles, right? That's his coach. He actually said, look, it was a compliment that Les Miles thought Jamar Chase would be a great defensive back because 80% of the great defensive backs we saw at LSU primarily played offense. According to Brandon Taylor, those are his thoughts. And that does make sense, right? It's not as much of an insult. It's not as if Les Miles thinks you're not a good wide receiver. He just sees you more as a defensive back. And, as much as I love Brandon Taylor, that is just lunacy. If you couldn't see that Jamar Chase was a transcendent wide receiver and he ends up being one of the best wide receivers of all time, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. And you definitely don't get the benefit of the doubt if you're Les Miles. If the Dak Prescott thing also happened when Les Miles wanted Dak Prescott to play tight end. Everyone say hi to the Z, baby. David Woodley.
Did you see my comment?
AJ Dewey.
Did you get a crew neck?
Crew neck?
Sweatshirt, because I'm always cold.
Y'all want sweatshirts? Skipper, it is currently in the mail, I guarantee you. So yeah, Valenti, it is a really good super chat. All right, T-Mill, let me find your question here. Yeah, Mark, I just got your Venmo. You get to pick the next topic. So yeah, once again, I don't want to spend too much time on Les Miles, obviously mischaracterizing Jamar Chase. Let me see if I could find.
Goodness,
yeah, Brandon, have you seen this on my channel? There's a bunch of not only Florida, but Jackson State people kind of trolling my channel
Really?
right now. It's not bad. They're just excited that they think they'll get Harold Perkins. It's also to note that that Jamar Chase is obviously really good at football, But at the same time, he almost ended up at Florida. There's so many LSU guys that had Florida on the mark, and they still end up going to LSU. I think the same thing's going to happen with JaCOBY Matthews. I still think the same thing's going to happen with Trevante Citizen, that both of them will end up in Baton Rouge. Okay? Marshall Faulk was recruited by DB at LSU as well. Saban tried recruiting Vince Young as a tight end. I didn't know the Saban Vince Young thing. I didn't know that, Chris. I've never even heard that. I like your attitude, Daniel. Perkins, Matthew, Citizen. We're going to get all of them. How is Myles doing in recovery? I really got high hopes for him and thought his year was last year. So I do want to share this, and this is very important. All right. So earlier today, an anonymous, we'll keep him anonymous. I was very fortunate to get a visit here from an offensive coordinator. So I have friends in the coaching industry. I'm very lucky to have those friends, even though I've never been a coach. A lot of my film study knowledge comes from things like this. Thank you again, King Robert, for the super chat. So I want you to see this. I had an offensive coordinator come over today, and we actually broke down some all 22 of LSU offensive concepts. And something that really shocked me, this is obviously Joe Burrow as well, but he had a bunch of cut-ups of the 2019 LSU offense, okay? So what's very interesting is he had a lot of cut-ups of Myles Brennan, okay? And I sat down, I was like, okay, what do you think of Myles Brennan? And he is blown away. He's like, Carter, you don't understand. Myles can really play. And I was like, he's not a dual threat. He gets hurt all the time. And he said, true. And that does limit what he can do. But he said Myles Brennan's pocket presence and just his arm alone is elite. And he said, as an offensive coordinator, he would do anything to have Myles Brennan as his quarterback. And I know his current quarterback situation, it's not good. So we watch a lot of film. We spent about an hour, looking at some all 22, and it was good. It was an old friend. And that gave me a little bit more confidence, right? Because there's not a lot of you that are like really gung-ho about Myles Brennan being our quarterback next year. So Team Mill, this is a really good question, right? Hi, Haley. I see you, baby. So let me ask you this. Andrea, we only have shirts, and all I got to do is Venmo or Cash App me at Carter the Power. So, T-Mill, I'm guessing Myles' recovery is where it needs to be, because there were rumors that he was going to be able to come back at the end of last year. But it's also very interesting, right? As far as Myles Brennan is concerned, I do believe Myles Brennan has a cannon. What I would like to see, though, is obviously more. It's going to be interesting to see him play without Terrace Marshall, because Terrace was such a huge piece to Myles' success in those 3 games. And at the same time, Eric Gilbert was as well. And obviously, he's not going to have both those guys. Now he's going to have Kayshawn and Jack Bash, who are just as good as those 2 guys. But still, and BTJ and Malik and maybe Kyron Lacey. I know a lot of you are really high on him. So I hope Myles' recovery team mill is going great. I really do have high hopes for him as well. So, yeah, that's such a good question, too. I'm glad you brought that up. I was blown away, though. Like, he stopped me. I was like, Carter, you don't understand. Myles can really freaking play. Scooby, I got to tell Haley this. Carter, go test drive a vehicle like yours and keep the mats. Problem solved. Scooby! I love it. There you go. All right, Mark says, who is the star defensive player going into next season? Okay. So I want everyone right now. Who will be the best player on LSU's defense next year? Comment right now. Just give me a name. Right now in the comment section. Give me a name. Okay. Mark, we are still working on getting Justin Vincent on the channel. We couldn't schedule it. I'm still waiting. I want him to be the next guest because you worked so hard. And by working so hard, you did just hit him up on Twitter, and he was really excited. I talked to Justin earlier this week, and we're still working on a schedule. Makai Wingo said Matt House will run a base 4-man front, but the defense will be multiple. Yeah. You know what else is interesting, Kate? I've got to tell you about my Wingo, right? That he can really play. Let's see. All right, KMC, I'm going to dedicate a poll question to you. Valenti says BJ. Heartland says Baskerville. Brett says Brooks. You know, when you said Brooks at first, I was like, Ron Brooks? Really? You guys have to admit, Ron Brooks was very, very underrated. BJ, Major Burns. No! Is this Ahmad Rashad from Inside Stuff? The former NFL receiver and close friend of Michael Jordan. Is this Ahmad Rashad? NBA Inside Stuff. I love it. Welcome to the channel, Ahmad. Good to see you. Mason Smith, BJ, Jay Ward. I like it. Yeah, I know. I'm really excited. And I actually found my Justin Vincent Sports Illustrated cover today. I was pretty pumped up about that. Heartland, good to see you again. Welcome. There you are, Jason. Jason, where are you with your Xavier Carter comment? I'm telling you, if Xavier Carter breaks out next year, Jason, we got to get a pic with you and Xavier. We got to. You, your son, and Xavier. By the way, Jason, one of the many super dads on the channel. I'm looking at you right now. You. All the super dads of PHL. Be an awesome dad. My dad was awesome to me. You need to be awesome to your kiddos as well. Goes a long way. Once again, shout out to all the super moms as well. Be there for your kids' livelihood. Quaylen Roy. Or do what you want. Once again, I don't like to tell you to live your life, but I think we can all agree. Be there. Mike Jones and JaCOBY and Guillory. Interesting. Oh, you're his grandson. Nice. So Ahmad Rashad the third? That's so cool. Can you get him on the channel? Please shoot me an email if you can. powerhourlsu@gmail.com. If you get that, that'd be a hookup right there. I know it wouldn't be a football related discussion, but when you can get Ahmad Rashad on the channel, he was a great football player. But obviously all my questions would be about his awesome, legendary, unforgettable interviews with the greatest basketball player of all time. And we all know who we're talking about, baby. His interviews with Ron Harper were fantastic. Kidding. His Michael Jordan interviews, nothing short of amazing. Who? Mike Jones. Oh, speak of the devil, Danielle got distracted by her kiddos. Who is the defensive MVP next year? It's interesting, though, right? How many of you, okay, and I want you to be honest, okay? How many of you had Damon Clark as the defensive MVP before the season? Right? How many of you? How many of you? Now, it does help how Damon Clark plays a position where you can rack up a lot of numbers. Obviously, that being linebacker. Our defense was on the field for long periods of time because Max Johnson with 3 and out. Please do. Who would love to see Ahmad Rashad on the channel? Please shoot me an email, Ahmad Rashad, or a Twitter, okay, at Carter the Power. Twitter or Instagram, I'm on there, at Carter the Power. I want Ahmad Rashad to be on here. How cool would that be? NBA inside stuff. And obviously, we'll talk a lot about football. Yeah, Xavier Carter has a unique combination of Chason. He's long and rangy like Key, but fast like Chason. He's a very, very athletic player, right? And, that 3-4 outside linebacker role might be his best role. I know he played a lot of traditional linebacker in the bowl game because we needed him to because we were so thin. But, yeah, it's very interesting, right? DRC said, I hated Clark before last season. So here's the thing. Carl the Cat, good to see him, man. Ali Gay would go off. Christopher, the new staff is well equipped to coach up tight ends. Do you think Cole Taylor makes a jump? I felt like his technique was bad, but I think 30% of it was 1-2. Good question here, Christopher. So I've actually done a lot of research on Cole Taylor, right? I've done a lot of film studies, and it's not good, right? The thing is, though, it's not 1-2 per se. Like, he wants to be there. He shows up. He puts in the effort. It's just sometimes when you play, when you're a 3-star tight end in Colorado, which is not known for your high school football, and then you jump up to the SEC and you have to play before you're ready to play because Eric Gilbert put us in a really bad spot, then, you're going to get exposed. And Cole Taylor was not good versus Florida, and he wasn't good versus Ole Miss, in particular in the blocking game. Now, thankfully, he had a loose shoe, but, that continued this year. And for whatever reason, Jake Peetz thought running a screen of Cole Taylor versus UCLA was a smart idea, and that play is what sealed our fate. Ended up being an interception, almost a pick six, and, of course, they scored. So, as far as Cole Taylor is concerned, this is the best thing that can happen to him, right? You bring in, one of the best tight end coaches in the country, which is Mike Denbrock, and you bring in the head coach who is known for tight ends more than any other coach in the country in Brian Kelly. So if they can't figure it out with Cole Taylor, nobody can, right? They have produced the best tight ends consensus over the past decade, right? Whether it be Cole Kmet, Tommy Tremble, now Michael Mayer, it's just, the list is just so crazy. So yeah, we'll see, right? I think there's 4 or 5 tight ends from Notre Dame in the NFL right now. Cole Taylor's not physical at the point of attack. He's a little soft, and I don't mean that as a put down. But the physicality of the blocking position has overwhelmed him. Also, as a receiver, he doesn't give you a whole lot. But I've always said this about Cole Taylor from the get-go. And people that have been watching me, you're going to hear me say this for the 50,000th time, he was always a year 3 guy, right? This is it's crazy, right? And I was talking about this earlier with the offensive coordinator. We could talk X's and O's and whatever. You got to have dudes. It's 90% of this whole thing is, are you athletic enough to play this game? Can you keep up with the speed of the game? And it moves really fast. All right. I've been fortunate to be on the sideline for, a lot of LSU games. I was a cameraman for Jeremy Hill's breakout game, right? That's why I'm such a big Jeremy Hill fan, because, I was on the field for that game. And I was like, I remember, having my camera, and after he had his first big run, I was like, who is this? This guy is shot out of a freaking cannon. And, it was then I was like, this guy is playing at a different speed, right? So Jeremy Hill wasn't the fastest guy. And I know he's a friend of the channel and all that. I'm not just pumping him up, but, it wasn't just his speed. He had good game speed. Right. There was a long thread on Patrick Mahomes and his game speed that was really good from his personal trainer. And Patrick Mahomes moves faster than everyone else. He's not the fastest guy, but his movements are really, really fast for the speed of the game. Right. And if any of you would ever step on a Division I football field or a Division I basketball court or whatever, the first thing that would jar you isn't necessarily the physicality and how athletic everyone is. It's just how fast things move. It's the information processing. And that's a big concern for me with Cole Taylor because, it seems as if he's always just a half step off the ball. It matters, right? Not everybody is an Ojolari or a Mason Smith that are physically ready to start year one. Ready to see some tight ends feast? Happy belated birthday, Carter. Let's go. Shout out to you, Trey, and your continued support of PHL. Thank you for your generous super chat, as always, Trey. And Trey, obviously, you're one of our many super dads of PHL. Thank you so freaking much. And I agree with you, Trey. I'm really high on Jack Bech going into next year. I think Brian Kelly's going to like what he sees. Obviously, I mean, who wouldn't? But at the same time, I think Brian Kelly's going to get really creative with this tight ends next year and continue to use Jack as that hybrid tight end role. And another one of my really good friends here, 9 Tigers still playing for a championship. What a recruiting tool. Let's go. So I know some of you are Green Bay Packers fans. I know Jesse is a big Packers fan, and he's always watching in the background. It is crazy. What a recruiting tool. Let's go. Yeah, there's so many playing, right? So let's see if I can name them all. Arden Key, Andrew Whitworth, Odell Beckham. Okay. Now the Chiefs is Darrell Williams, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tyrann Mathieu. Okay, so we're at 6. And now Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Shelvin. Look at that. 9. I got them all. Huh? If I'm missing someone, let me know. Because I'm not good at counting. 2.7 LSU GPA. That's me. But yeah, it is really cool. I'm really excited about championship weekend. This is as excited I've been for the NFL in quite some time. Obviously, since 2018, we're not going to talk about that. But this is excited I've been for championship weekend. Obviously, I'm a big Tyrann Mathieu fan. But going up against Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, those are arguably the 3 best LSU football players, period, ever in the story. You can make a strong case. But it's very interesting. I play with Jay Hill. That's so cool. Have crazy football stories of his and Lyle Talent, 2 good dudes. Yeah, that's crazy, Christopher. You're lucky. You're so lucky, man, that you got to play next to 2 NFL guys. How lucky are you? I would have loved to have played, and I played against some good athletes, but I never played against anyone as good as either one of those guys. Like, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I never played against anyone as good as either one of those guys. And obviously, those 2 guys are really, really good football players. Ad Moss. Yeah, there you go, Cars. I was looking for you on the Jack Bech discourse. That's right, Ahmad Rashad. When I first learned that Ahmad Rashad was not just a basketball reporter, my jaw dropped. I where were you? I think we all kind of remember when that actually was a thing. Some of you always knew that, right? I just didn't. Like, I had no freaking idea, right? So Stad Moss on the active roster. I know Ed said 9. So I named 9 that I know for sure are active roster players. I'm a USC guy, but I love LSU. Can't wait till 2024. You know what's crazy, Ahmad? And I'm not just saying this. By the way, welcome to the channel. Everyone welcome Ahmad Rashad. We're not just trying to butter him up because we want to get Ahmad Rashad on the channel. We always welcome first-time viewers. It's funny. I was talking to Van about this, right? Van Lathan, friend of the channel. And we were talking about this in our interview, right? And Danny, you were here. Jared, you were here. A few other you were here about like LA and LSU, right? It's kind of crazy, right? I've always heard that there are some USC LSU fans, right? I can't wait till 2024 either. I'm dead serious. It's I don't know. I think some of it, Ahmad, is there were so many Joe McKnight fans from Louisiana, rest in peace. And Joe McKnight was a movement in Louisiana high school football, right? It's kind of in the background because Fournette kind of became that running back legend. But Joe McKnight was a movement in the state of Louisiana, right? Desmond, there you are. Are we going to the Aria? That's where I spent a lot of time, at the Aria. Really nice casino. Moss out with the hamstring. Yeah, it's true. So, Ahmad, if you're interested, I did a podcast with Matt Zimick, who is a really good USU podcaster. And if you hit him up on Twitter, me and him got into a pretty nice debate about 2003 USC versus 2003 LSU. I still think LSU wins that game. And the reason why is that defensive line would have been such a bad matchup for USC. And that was back when defensive line offenses just weren't as advanced as they are now. But that was back then when a defensive line could win you a national championship, right? Now, the offenses are just so freaking good now. LJ, Jason, hop in the chat. Thank you for your Venmo, man. I really do appreciate you. But, it's crazy, right? We always think about that, right? That 03 USC team was just so loaded. Man, Mike Williams was such an underrated receiver. But yeah, it's always the big what if, right? How would they have played? I still think one of the bigger LSU what ifs is our 2007 team. I thank the good Lord above that we did not have to play Georgia in the SEC championship game, because I'm not sure if we would have won that game without Matt Flynn. And apparently played fine in the SEC championship game, right? It was really good, actually. But Georgia with no Sean Moreno and Matt Stafford, they were definitely the second best team in the country at the end of the year. I remember I went to the Sugar Bowl. I went to this game. They boat raced Colt Brennan in Hawaii. Once again, rest in peace to Colt Brennan. That Hawaii team was so much fun, but they boat raced. And Hawaii was a good football team. Georgia at the end of the year, that was one of the most impressive teams I've ever seen in person. That would have been such a fun matchup. Tyler, what's good? Oh, yeah. So, Tyler, thank you so much. A football card podcast doesn't have a lot of listeners. We need you to really hop on that, right? Yeah, Tyler. Me and Andy, we have a lot of fun, man. We really do. Yeah, so King Ulysses has reached out to me. Everyone keep him in your thoughts. He is currently going over that dental surgery. Trey, no, you didn't miss most of the tight end discussion. We were talking about Cole Taylor. Ask us. All right, let me ask you this right now. How many of you, and only real like diehard recruiting guys and gals can answer this question, okay? How many of you think Mason Taylor can play year one? How many of you think that? How many of you type Y for yes, type in for no? 3-star Mason Taylor, son of one of the best NFL defensive ends of all time, Jason Taylor. And more importantly, the nephew of one of the best sports broadcasters in the country, Joy Taylor. Do you think Mason Taylor can play year one? Right? 3-star tight end out of Florida. Definitely, I'll say this, better film than Cole Taylor. Okay. So this is where it gets interesting. Okay. Now, Trey said he wants to go deeper into the tight end discussion. It is still your project. You can pick the next topic, so just let me know. USC LSU in 1979. I love it. I need to go back and watch that game. Christopher, member of the Joy Taylor fan club. I see you. I see you. Don't get caught in those thirst traps, though. I'm gonna look for you, Christopher, to see if you're caught slipping. There's a lot of guys on Twitter that melt down over it. King Alyssa is better blocker as well. I really do think Joy Taylor is like one of my favorite sport broadcasters. I've always been a big Colin Cowherd fan. I don't get to listen as much as I used to, but I think Joy is definitely, one of the best. Thank you, Big Al. Appreciate you. Press the like button. That obviously goes a long way. Good. It's perfect to listen to. That is the exact. That's what I listen to. I listen to football card podcasts. Shout out to Sports Card Nonsense. I was listening to that one. Danny Lewis. Yeah. So this is what's really interesting about it, okay? Yeah. So, Trey, we're going to get deep into the tight end discussion. So this is where I want to start right here, okay? No, not that Joy. That's Joy Behar. Joy Taylor does not look like Joy Behar. So let me start with this, okay? No true freshman tight end, no true freshman center. So by the way, Brad Davis, once again, if you're watching this, I need to connect you with Danny because Danny has been refreshing the transfer portal button nonstop. Okay, she is the lead recruiter. And Mark, I think I do have some Cam Thomas cards. If not, I'll get you some. Oh yeah, Cam Thomas is a rookie, so his cards are gonna be expensive because he's been kind of good. So let's talk about the 3-star tight end thing, okay? It's not been good. So you look at the 3-star tight ends from out of state. So KMC brought up Danny Lewis a minute ago. KMC, thank you for your super chat earlier in the live stream. So what's interesting is LSU has had a lot of 3-star tight ends that have never even dressed out for LSU. So you had the one this past year in Mississippi. His name slips my mind. You go back to Hannah Shipley from Texas. He never even stepped foot. He transferred to Louisiana Tech and played offensive tackle. There was another 3-star tight end from out of state that never stepped foot on campus, right? So there have been a lot of 3-star out-of-state tight ends that never even dressed out. They average less than a year at LSU, right? So the opposite has kind of been true with in-state tight ends, right? And obviously, the biggest example of that is Foster Moreau. But there have been more. If I'm not mistaken, I think D'Angelo Peterson was a 3-star. There was also what's his name? Caleb Roddy, who didn't work out. I thought he could have been good, but it just didn't work out. Nick Jacobs was a good player until he left. So there's been a lot of 3-star tight ends from out of state that just didn't work out, right? So the first thing is I think Mason Taylor is better than that. Now, his junior year, he only caught 8 passes, but the first game he played this year, and I think Mick is still in here. Mick watched this full game. He plays at St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Florida, and that's obviously a really big school, right? So he or does he play at St. Thomas Aquinas? I don't know. It's a big high school. And he balled out. He had 8 catches in his first game. So he matched his season total from the year before. And by all accounts, it looked like he had a pretty good senior season. So I think Mason Taylor's going to turn out to be a really good player. But I'm not sure if he could play as a true freshman. Now, a lot of you are big Danny Lewis fans. And let's be honest, right? You know, there's a good portion of you that live outside the state of Louisiana. There's a good portion of you that live inside the state of Louisiana. And you guys are really diehard LSU football fans. You have to be, right? to really love 3-star tight end breakdowns. Let's be honest. We all have a little bit of bias mixed with truth when it comes to 3-star Louisiana players, right? We always believe in them just a little bit more than your average 3 or even 4-star player, right? There's that mythical Louisiana 3-star. And we talk about it a lot, right, on this channel. Obviously, Foster Moreau, at tight end, but there's been so many at so many different positions. So I know a lot of you are on pins and needles about Danny Lewis because we really do need tight ends. And he looks to be a really good player. So we'll see what happens. So hopefully, Trey, that was a good enough tight end breakdown for you. Christopher is higher on Mason Taylor. I like that. Eric Gilbert played and was one-dimensional. If Taylor could be average at blocking and can catch, he'll be good. Yeah, Eric Gilbert's blocking did get better as the season moved on. He had a huge block on John Emery's long TD run. He just got better. That was kind of the sad thing about him, quitting on us was, or opting out, whatever word you want to use, was that his blocking actually started to come around. Okay, now everyone is trying to freak out. Who is Joy Taylor? I've got to see what. I'll like to see for yourself. I would love to see Joy Taylor in Baton Rouge. I really do love her sports broadcasting. And Joy Taylor, if you are watching this right now, you are more than welcome to come on the channel. Come hang out. So this is my take on Mason Taylor and Danny Lewis, right? It's impossible to know which one of those guys are going to turn out to be studs, if not both of them, right? Because of Notre Dame's track record with tight ends, Brian Kelly's track record with tight ends. But you would like to increase your chances of finding another tight end, and you do that if you bring in Danny Lewis. Now, this is where the fun begins, okay? So Ahmad Rashad brings up Savion Jones to tight end, right? He's athletic enough. I've actually thought about this. I thought in particular, Landon Jackson is now at Arkansas. He has really good tight end tape. I've thought about this about Rashad. Savion Jones at tight end. He's a defensive end. I don't know how much tight end he actually played, but he is definitely athletic enough. But the name you need to keep an eye out for is Michael Trigg. Now, I'm not for sure if Michael Trigg has already committed somewhere else, but he is a big-time tight end prospect out of South Carolina. So be on the lookout for Michael Trigg. So there you go. I wanted to see. Yeah, I know a lot of you USC fans really wanted him. We're not going to turn this into an Eric Gilbert chat, but he was seen with the Georgia Bulldogs after the national championship game. We shall see. Jared, why did you change from your PHL shirt? Why did you change to put Nick Cole on here? Right? Now let me some Nick Cole. But, dear, why would you change your avatar from the shirt? The shirt. Do you think BK will make a QB starter decision in spring to give Nuss or Myles a chance to transfer? No, I don't think so. And this is just a simple truth. Okay, are you ready for this, Grant? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? I don't think Brian Kelly knows who his quarterback is yet. I think he has a good idea that it's going to be Myles Brennan, but it is not 110% certain that Myles Brennan is 10 times better than Garrett Nussmeier, right? That's the thing, right? In the NFL, more often than not, it is clear who your starter should be, right? It's pretty clear. And everyone on the team knows it. There's no beating around the bush or quarterback battles in the NFL, hardly ever. In college, it's not really like that, right? You honestly never really know who the best quarterback actually is. You just don't, right? Did anyone ever think that, when you saw Tim Tebow for the first time, that you would see a better college quarterback? Just to know that there was a better one on the same roster. It's strange, right? College quarterbacks it's such a weird dynamic. That's why, I was begging Garrett Nussmeier to just play the final few games. Because if you ball out, this whole conversation is just totally different. Maybe Nuss is content being the backup next season. Maybe he isn't. I'm not entirely sure. So it's very fascinating. But Grant, I think right now Myles is such a heavy favorite to be the starter, but we shall see. God, we got some Joy Taylor stands in here now. Savion Jones is going to be a stud with Quincy Wiggins. We'll see. I mean, Quincy Wiggins looks to be really special. Really, really special. I'm excited about Quincy. I really am. I wasn't at first, but now I'm starting to get more excited. Obviously, the accident was a little scary, but we'll see. Red Rain, I remember you. Nuss is better than Walker, in my opinion. Ooh, Danny with the spicy take. Go get Plumlee as a transfer, as a backup to the backup option while Howard develops year as one, so we can have a basic athlete that can QB. Thoughts? The first thing is John Rice Plumlee is not going to come here, right? He wants to go somewhere where he can play, right? Especially with the Matt Corral thing and how that actually played out, because, there's no telling if he actually beats Matt Corral out for the quarterback job if Lane Kiffin doesn't come in, right? So, I think Plumlee's going to go somewhere where he could for sure play. Danny says, for when Myles gets hurt. Ooh, Danny. Plumlee is at UCF. Plumlee is at UCF. Back in Florida. Well, he never was in Florida, I don't think. He's actually a perfect fit to run the Gus offense, now that I think about it. I had no idea. I didn't know where John Rice Plumlee went, unless there's another quarterback named Plumlee. Brandon says Nuss is not getting enough love in the chat. Look at you, Danny. Look at you. You're supposed to be refreshing the transfer portal. What I think happened, though, Danny, is that you were just so focused on center. You were just looking at center in the transfer portal. You were just looking at that one position. I love it. What are your thoughts on Perkins to LSU? I like our chances. I do. I really do. Once again, there's just no telling at this point. I will say, I'm not right about a lot, but when he committed, I did say this isn't over, right? This is going to be one of those Landon Collins sweats. Okay. It might happen, it might not. Crystal ball is Florida. Interesting. We got some John Robinson love. Yeah, it was one of Edo's top guys. Yeah, some USC people love them. Some John Robinson. This is also true. We don't hang chandeliers from our tailgates. You guys know I don't just crap on other SEC schools. I just don't. It's not my thing. I know a lot of people like to troll other SEC bases. And, that's probably cost me some subscribers and views. I should be a little more volatile towards other bases. I should. So this is a start. Oxford is overrated. Now I need to go back to the Grove for a more competitive game. I went there for the 2011 Ole Miss game. As many of you remember, that was such a trash year with Houston Nutt. But man, I was just, what is this? Like even if I was envisioning the place being packed, I was like, wait, this is what everyone says is the best SEC campus to tailgate. Fayetteville's better, Auburn's better, Tuscaloosa's better. All three of them are better. I've been to all three of those places, I think 3 times. So I might be a little unfair to Oxford. I've only been once, but all three of those places are really fun places. It says Oxford is the #1 college town in the US of A. Really? It's not better than Athens. Athens is the best SEC city. Myles is an elite 11 stud. He scored when he was in. Give him some protection in the pocket and see what happens. I love it, Keith. I love it. Myles Brennan. I love it. Once again, Keith, you were in here earlier. When my OC friend was here, he was like, dude, Myles can play. I'm with you, Keith. And I think it was Skipper who asked, hey, have you done any Myles Brennan film studies? There is a film breakdown of every Myles throw. All you got to do is go to my YouTube account and type in Myles Brennan film study, and you'll see all my Myles Brennan film studies. There is a lot. Rodney, I'll address this really quickly. I heard some rumors on Logan Diggs in the transfer portal. I can see it happening, but even if it does, do you really see him going to LSU? There's no way he comes to LSU with a running back room looking the way that it looks right now. There's just no I just don't see Logan Diggs. And I know it sucks. I know a lot of you are Rummel Raiders or New Orleans football stands, especially, earlier we were talking about the mythical 3-star recruit. And there have been a lot from Archbishop Rummel who have gone elsewhere and been really good players. So, yeah, I just don't see Logan Diggs being a part of LSU this year. Maybe the next year, but not this year. I don't think he's going to go anywhere, though. No joke. New Haven, Connecticut is a top 10 college town. Went up there for the game and had a blast. New Haven, Connecticut. What is that? Is that where UConn is? Logan Diggs can come play linebacker. That might actually be his best position. I've always felt that way. I just feel there's so much similar things you have to do as a linebacker and a running back that you never really know, right? I still think Alfred Blue would have been one of the best NFL linebackers of all time. Now, he was a great backup running back, but that kid could tackle, right? I still think about that all the time. You don't really know. It's pretty clear, if, wide receiver or corner, right? It's pretty clear when a person should be playing wide receiver and when a person should be playing corner. I'm not so sure if that's the case at linebacker or running back, right? Ole Miss was deleted from the SEC. Denley, my New Roads fellow native. What's good, man? So Carter, how much 12? Carl, what's up, man? Holding it down in Dallas. How much 12 personnel do you think we will see in the fall, or do you think we'll spread it out with 3 wide receiver sets? I don't think we can run 12 right now. I just don't think we're ready for that. Unless you put Mashburn and Besh on the field. We're not ready to run 12, right? I think we're going to be in 11 most of the time. So for those that aren't familiar, 11 personnel and 12 personnel. So whenever you hear personnel numbers, it's always going to be a 0, 1, or 2, right? So 11 personnel means 1 running back, 1 tight end. 12 personnel means 1 running back, 2 tight ends, okay? So more often than not, if you play 3 wide receiver sets, that means you have a tight end and a running back, so you're running 11 personnel. So, you hear that a lot, and that's going to be something that's going to be said a lot leading into it because Brian Kelly likes to run a lot of 12 personnel and sometimes 13 personnel when you have 3 tight ends on the field. So, we shall see. Let's see. Can Trey Bradford transfer out? And I just don't see him getting on the field much. It's a good question. Let me think about this for a second. Trey Bradford. Do I think he's better than Armani Goodwin? I still think Armani Goodwin's the best back. I do. If he's fully healthy. I was talking to someone who does really good running back prospect breakdowns. And he agreed with me when he saw Armani played in college or his carries this year. He had no juice. He just had nothing. I mean, went down very easy. I was like, God, this is not the same guy, right? I just, he's had so many injuries. I just don't know if he has that same pop he had. And he played at 7A level in high school. He was a really good football player. So I go back to this, the OC that I had with me earlier today, he runs a lot of 11, right? And I think a lot of OCs like 11 simply because, there's just more stuff you can do out of 11, right? So a team that is really famous for running pretty much exclusively 11 is us, 2019 LSU. But if you want to see a team that runs really good 11 personnel, like they are experts at it, look no further than the Los Angeles Rams. Okay. So the Rams run a lot of 11, and what makes them really spicy out of the 11 personnel is Cooper Kupp, right? He's been Cooper Kupp's been the best player in the NFL, not a quarterback. He's been the best player in the league. And I am not sure if anyone's really close outside of maybe Aaron Donald, but really the best offensive non-quarterback in the league has been Cooper Kupp. And it's not because Cooper Kupp is a good wide receiver, right? There's a lot of people that can catch, but Cooper Kupp can block. If you go back and look at the first or second drive versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Cooper Kupp flattened Devin White. And it wasn't a blindside block because it would have been a flag. He just put him on his butt. He just, it was kind of in a tough spot for Devin White. But how many times have you ever seen a slot wide receiver put Devin White on his butt, right? So that's what makes the Rams 11 personnel really good, is that Cooper Kupp is like a Hines Ward, Jarvis Landry level blocker, but probably better than those guys. So if you run 11, do you run 11 with a tight end and Jack Besh as one of your receivers, or do you let him play the tight end and then essentially you're in 10-ish personnel or 10.5 personnel, right? Jarrett, what's good, man? Appreciate you as always. Yeah, so 11 means one back, one tight end, okay? 12 means, so Notre Dame is known for running a lot of 12, right? They have a lot of good tight ends. Michael Mayer, right? They have one running back, two tight ends. A lot of teams like to run 12. Now, speaking of the Rams, what's really fun is the team that they play, San Francisco, runs a lot of 21 personnel, where they actually have two running backs. They have a fullback and a running back and a tight end. Okay, Kyle Juszczyk. All right. Now, what's really interesting is Juszczyk can also play that H-back. In a way, he's a hybrid tight end as well, but more so as a running back, fullback tight end, whereas Jack Besh is a hybrid tight end, as a wide receiver tight end, right? So there you go. So anytime you see 11 personnel, 12 personnel, 10 personnel, or anything, the first number is always the running back, and the second number is the tight end. Those are the only two numbers it means. So if it's 10 personnel, that means one running back, no tight ends, 4 wide receivers. Okay? It's a good question. Do you think Joey P has a shot becoming the next president of the United States? Sure. Go right on ahead. Good question here. Converse is CB1. Who steps in the CB2 spot? Man, that's a good question. Obviously, Converse immediately becomes CB1, right? He's better than anything that we have now. And, this is kind of weird to say this, but it's not really saying a lot, right? It's one of the weird years where we don't have a bona fide number one corner coming back, right? You have to go way back to really find one of those years, way back. So, it's tough, right? And just for reference here, I know we're going through like a bunch of different numbers and stuff. There's no such thing necessarily as a CB1 and CB2, like what we were just talking about. Friday is just saying who is our best corner, right? Because you're always going to have two corners on the field that do basically the same thing, unless you do run a system where your best corner always travels with their best wide receiver, which a lot of teams do that. So, yes, Converse is definitely going to be CB1. The CB2 spot is wide open. One guy that I think is a real sleeper to be the CB2 is Jay Ward. I do think Brian Kelly will look at the film and say, look, Jay Ward was not good at tackling this year, but he is a good coverage guy. He played some good corner reps, and he very well could be CB2. But I think at this point, Mekhi Williams-Gardner has a really good shot. It's a real possibility that our two corners next year are two guys we never even heard of, at all in 2021. Burrow Chase 2036. Yeah, that's true. You got to be 35 to be president. Ward ain't a safety. He can tackle, but I think it's the opposite. He can't tackle, but he can't cover. Oh, no. I see what you're saying. You meant to say he can't tackle, but he can cover. All right. Also, Carl, as far as CB1 and CB2, so much has changed now because there's so much pre-snap motion, right? So you kind of have to just be able to play, right? You just got to be able to play. Yeah, Hammers, man, I don't know. I don't like to be overly critical of any one player, right? Kind of like with Cole Taylor, Jay Ward really had a rough year at safety. I mean, there's just the Texas Bowl was a disaster. The Florida game was also a disaster, right? The Hail Mary was on him, partially him, but he should have easily been able to defend that. He played for the interception, which doesn't make any sense in that spot. A lot of that is coaching. So, a lot of that goes on. Some of that goes on Durante as well. But, I don't know. I just don't think safety is his thing. I just don't. I think he is a nickel or a corner, either one of those. But you just got to be able to tackle. And it's just something he wasn't really that great at. Good night, Mick. We'll see you. We've brought this up plenty of times as well. Okay. I think Jay Ward could have been a great safety if the UCLA thing didn't happen. Sometimes, a lot of you've experienced this, right? Sometimes you take a hit in football and you're just not the same person. And I think the UCLA truck stick is one of the worst I've ever seen an LSU player take, especially considering these circumstances, right? This is Jay Ward's first ever game playing safety, and all he heard all season was, well, he's small, and we don't know if he can tackle well enough to play safety. So, you want to go out there and improve yourself, and he went up against an NFL running back. Charbonnet is going to get drafted, and he sent him to a different dimension. I've been there. It's not fun. Sometimes a hit can change you. And, not only did he get knocked out of the game, he got rolled over too. So it's especially it really hurts your psyche when you get run over and the pile runs over you as well. It could change you. It really can, right? And for those that haven't been in that spot, your life can flash before your eyes. I know that's a little bit dramatic, but it could be a little scary sometimes if you get hit that hard. And it was pretty bad. It didn't look too bad, but it was really bad. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like a curse, it'll F you up, right? It can you people have different symptoms though. Sometimes it is just you get a concussion or your shoulder stinger or something like that. For me, when I had one of those hits where it was in practice and I just saw stars for the rest of the practice, right? And I just could not quit seeing like just these stars. I got hit so hard, my chin strap flew off my head. And the kid that hit me went on to play college football, obviously. But I literally went into the locker room and I kept practicing. I shouldn't have. I was clearly concussed. I remember getting up wobbly, and I remember getting in the locker room, and I played soccer and I played basketball, and I sat down and I was like, this might not be for me. And I'm glad I didn't give up on it, but you do begin to reevaluate a lot. And obviously, Jay Ward, is a 10 times better football player than any of us. And he also knows that he's really good at nickel and corner. Uh, it's just tough, it really is. Do I have tolls over Burns? I have Burns over tolls right now. But once again, super small samples. Man, I couldn't even imagine having a Marshawn Lattimore type of corner on our team. Could really use one of those guys. Tolls can play linebacker. Yeah, maybe in some sub packages. I know a lot of you are really high on West Weeks, right? We'll see. Aaron and the lovely wife. Let's go. Ooh, Chris 606 with a lovely Chris 605 and his lovely wife. Don't count out JaCOBY Matthews. You even spelled Matthews right, or the way JaCOBY spells it, starting next year. Chris, he hadn't even signed yet. I love it. Yeah, JaCOBY's a really special athlete, right? He's definitely athletic enough to do it. We'll see. Ted, no, trust me, I'm very novice. So, I want to keep talking about this because it's rare when, an offensive coordinator comes to your house to come hang out. And, I was sitting there. He knows so much more about football than I do, right? And he's using all these terms that, I'm not smart enough to understand, right? And it's crazy, right? But I do think it is very important. And one thing, I got to shout out NFL Live. I love NFL Live now with Ryan Clark, Swagoo, Orlovsky, and Mina Kimes. Laura Rutledge, right? They do a really good job of simplifying football for a lot of people. And I think that's one of the first things you need to learn after learning the football basics. I think the first bit of advanced terminology is understanding 11, 12, 21, and all of that, right? So Oh, you knew Keelan Williams? Keelan was really great at LSU, right? He kind of got unlucky because, he was playing with so many great LSU backs, right? Jacob Hester was around, Trenton Holiday was around, Richard Murphy, and Charles Scott, right? So there was 5 guys on that 2017 team that got 35 carries or more. So Keelan's carries were capped, right? He had that big touchdown versus Auburn at home. He had a big touchdown versus Virginia Tech at home. And Keelan was great. And he had a big personality. I really loved me some Keelan Williams. And I could totally see Keelan Williams, Carl, just looking at – yeah, Carl, you're wearing a denim jacket. I could see Keelan Williams sending you to Mars. I love it, man. All right, for all the super dads out there, what type of jacket does Super Mario wear? I'll repeat. For all the dads out there, what type of jacket does Super Mario wear? I'm looking at you. All the super dads. Oh, you named your son after Keelan? I love it. Okay. No. I know he doesn't wear a jacket, but if Super Mario wore a jacket, what type of jacket would he wear? For all the dads out there, come on. I'm giving away the answer. If Super Mario wore a jacket, boom! Bang Hammers finally got it right. Denim. Let's go. Denim. Denim. That's top 5 dad joke of all time. That's just funny. I got kicked on a block punt and started running plays from a prior's offense. Man, it's crazy though. So like if you're 30 or above and you actually practiced, that was when, concussions weren't really a thing. And they would tell you to keep practicing. Denim. Oh, JJ, what's good, man? You just missed a dad joke. JJ, me and Haley are going to come get those steaks. I don't know, Jared. We might go all night. Depends. If the super chats keep flowing, we'll keep it going. David, welcome to the channel, man. Good to see you. I'm sorry you jumped in on our one dad joke ever. I don't know what's going on with Shamar Stewart, right? I don't think anyone really knows. So for those that don't know, Shamar Stewart is a 5-star defensive lineman, and he's really good, okay? As are most 5-star defensive linemen. A lot of those guys do pan out. I don't know. I don't know what the latest is with Shamar. Obviously, he's a really special talent. I think his last crystal ball was to Texas A&M. I just don't know. I just know Orgeron was all over that recruitment, and I don't think Oklahoma was in it. So I'm not sure if Jamar Cain has much contact with that kid. So maybe, there's someone sharper when it comes to recruiting that could talk about that kid. I'm not really looked at him recently. Donna, I'm curious, man. Catching up with the blue blood stuff, and good to hear from you, Don. I can't wait to actually meet you, man. I'm a super dad way before Super Mario. My sons are even too old to know much about Super Mario, I think. I don't know. Super Mario was... No, your sons are probably a little older than me. And no, Mario was definitely big, the 40 and over, the 40 to 50-year-old crowd, right? Don played Frogger. Don played Pong. Remember? Yeah, so shout out to JJ, one of our many medical workers that watches PHL. I know it's been crazy. I know you got to, keep all that protective gear on for hours upon hours upon hours. So, yeah, JJ, I'm thinking of you, man. Yeah, Don was a Pong guy, right? That game's still great. Still great. Johnny Five is in the house with his lovely girlfriend Gail, and they always watch the channel together. Shout out to both of y'all. In Colorado, Nathan. So this is really cool. Johnny and Nathan, one thing that they have in common? They are both new members of the T-shirt club. And if you want a shirt and look like Jared, there's the shirt right there. Did you cover the Georgia Southern staff hire? Really interested in your thoughts. I know they gave Bama fits years back. That is such an interesting question. So I think Georgia Southern hired Clay Helton, right? I like it, right? You obviously get a big name coach from, the Power Five. I don't know. I don't know too much about his coordinator hires. So yeah, I think it's kind of cool though that they got Helton. Duck Hunt. Nathan, it's going great. Your shirt is currently in the mail, right? Ooh, Crammons, yeah. So I did a video about this a year ago, right, about the 2025 schedule. And Crammons, welcome to the channel. I think this is your first time. Make everyone feel Crammons. Make them feel special. We had another first-time viewer earlier, the grandson of Ahmad Rashad. I think he's still watching. Glad he's got several years. Yeah, so that schedule is going to be just brutal. Clemson, Alabama, and at Georgia. It's going to be a fun schedule to travel. But Cramons, I don't know if the schedule is going to stay the same, right? If the conference realignment happens before 2026, we're going to have a different schedule for 2025, right? First time back, been too long, love the show. Cramons, where have you been? This is only my first time job, and I need viewers so I can feed my girlfriend, feed my dog, and more importantly, feed my chubby behind. Cramons, never leave for this long a period of time. Okay? You got the eye of the tiger. Congrats on 6K, but I truly believe this season will be the biggest one yet. I'm seeing 50K subs in your future hardest working man on YouTube. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Michael B. Man, your dog is awesome. I love that dog. I've obviously never owned a big dog. But yeah, I'm always down for dog picks. Georgia Southern is doomed with Clay Helton. So what do you say about that, Cole? I think this is the first time I've ever gotten a Georgia Southern super chat. Yeah, Kramitz, it just depends on when the conferences actually do their thing. A lot of it's going to come down, though, to what the TV contracts do, right? There you go, Joseph. You need book bans? You know, I got you, my friend. Shoot me an email and I'll tell you what to do. You could Venmo or Cash App. 1 for 15, 2 for 20, 3 for 25. Now, here's the thing, Big Daddy. The 3 for 25 option gets you LSU cards, right? So we throw a bunch of LSU cards into your order if you do the 3 for 25. And that is the preferred option for me because I love sharing LSU cards, right? So you never know. You can get yourself a Joe Burrow card. So, yeah, I throw cards in of your favorite LSU player and other LSU cards. I give out a lot of Jarvis Landry cards. So if you're a fan of Jarvis, if you're a fan of Odell, I mean, I got so many cards, right? So I hook you up with some cool stuff. Helps out the channel. There you go. I am Carl. Obviously, I'm really excited about Ed Ingram because, you know, he actually played the bowl game, which showed me a lot of heart and character. Not saying that Damon Clark and Neil Farrell didn't have it, but I'm really happy Ed went out there and, you know, essentially walking into a, you know, a lost cause at that at that point. So yeah, I'm cheering for those three guys really hard. All three of those guys, you know, I think we all predicted Ed Ingram to go to the Senior Bowl. I don't think any one of us predicted Damon Clark and Neil Farrell. Cheering for those two guys because they played so hard and they played so phenomenal from start to finish. So there you go. Oh, my question was the LSU hire from the Georgia Southerner staff. So did they hire someone from Georgia Southern or didn't they hire John Jancic from Georgia? Let me look this up really quickly. I guess I missed the Georgia. So, no, the hire came from Georgia's staff, which is even better, obviously. John Jancic, you know, he's been a multiple-time defensive coordinator. There's a few things I like a lot about Jancic, right? The first thing is that, obviously, you know, he's fresh off a national championship, and he played, you know, with the best defensive coach in the game now, not named Nick Saban, which is Kirby Smart, right? And Dan Lanning just got a job, and Glenn Schumann is really well respected in the industry. So that's really cool, right? The second thing, obviously, is Jancic has coached with both Matt House and Brian Kelly in two radically different stops. So if we are going to play more multiple fronts, if we're going to play more 3-4, that obviously helps out a lot. Also, Jancic is going to really help out Matt House in his transition from the NFL to the college game. So it's really cool. Really cool. Yeah, he was a DC at Tennessee under Butch Jones. Cool. So Cole, if that is the case, I like him. But you know what's funny? I never get too excited about analyst hires, but this one is a little bit different, right? Experience with coaching with Brian Kelly and Matt House. Experience with a national championship team, but more importantly, experience with a more modern defense. The way defenses should be run is the way Georgia runs it. Now, a lot of Georgia's success is because they have Jordan Davis and Carter and all those great defensive linemen, Walker, Nolan Smith. They've got the bodies, right? But we do too. We may not have as good as they do. It's going to be hard to ever have as good a defensive line as they did. But we have upside in our front. So we'll see. So he has coached at Georgia Southern as well. So there you go. Georgia marketing manager. You could let people come on the show, open them for joining the video to discuss a question that is true. So if there's a Georgia Bulldog staffer that wants to join, be my guest. But yeah, we were on the same page. Denna. Huh? So yeah, Danzig's been at Georgia Southern as well. Yeah, very important. Hit the like button. They do official Friday, and I think it's very important that LSU plays HBCUs. I think it means a lot, right? Especially if you learn like the story behind Eddie Robinson and some of the crazy stories behind Southern athletics, whether it be football or baseball with Roger Cador and Lou Brock and the Jaguars baseball history there. It's very, very, very interesting. So plus it just makes for great halftime entertainment, right? LSU's got one of the best traditional bands in the country. Obviously HBCU bands are different, right? And me being a band nerd in high school, I played football and then march at halftime. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Golden Band at Tigerland, and obviously I'm a big fan of the Human Jukebox as well. The band, baby. So everyone's excited to see. And honestly, you should probably try your best to make the Southern game. Pretty sure that LSU is going to win. And more than likely, that's going to be a night game, right? So we don't know that yet. Hopefully we know the answer to that soon. And if you really want to go to a game in Tiger Stadium or a night game in general, that is the one to that's the one to go to. What instrument did you play, Tony? Marching bass drum. You played the fourth bass. I love it. I was a bass drum for 1 year, snare for 3. Matty Ice, good to hear from you again. Feel like we're bouncing back in the portal world? Yes, sir. Any of you fat enough to do the truffle shuffle besides me? Jackson Dart to Ole Miss. Is that official? And welcome. Arr. I used to work on ambulance in Ruston when I was shift, and there was a Grambling game. We'd post there in case someone got hurt. Their band is amazing. I've had quite a few friends march for them. Jackson Dart to USC. Interesting. Yeah, it's crazy. I think I listed all 9 of them earlier. Arden Key for the 49ers. Whitworth and Odell for the Rams. Joe, Jamar, Shelvin for the Chiefs. Daryl Williams, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Tyrann Mathieu for the Chiefs. And then the other one were the Bengals. Darcy, go Gators as you wear LSU gear. Very interesting. You see, they just wish they were us. They wish they were us so bad that they wear purple and gold. Jackson Dart to USC, very interesting. I love it. Jackson Dart. Interesting. Ole Miss. Yeah, I mean, he's from USC to Ole Miss. I love it. Oh, it's Lakers gear. Nice. Oh, maybe don't come talking smack in purple and gold. Maybe switch to a Gator photo before you actually do that. Gators feel good, though. Not a bad first recruiting class. Jackson's Dart 5-star QB. Yeah, obviously I think he's good. I don't know. There were some things I liked about Matt Corral, right? I think one thing that kind of ruined Matt Corral, and ruined is a strong word, right? He got hurt in the bowl game versus Baylor, is that his wide receivers got so hurt that it was tough for him to throw to anyone because nobody was getting open, right? I think LSU has a better shot to beat Ole Miss if we didn't play man coverage on every snap and Lane was able to pick us apart just because of that. They didn't have many people that could separate. So what they would do is they would just run Matt Corral to death. And what can happen when your quarterback is running so much is that they don't see the field as well as a thrower. And, Matt's not continued to go down and down and down. I know it's a very fascinating thing. Obviously, I like, Matt Corral a lot. I think he accomplished a lot at Ole Miss. So it's going to be interesting to see what Jackson Dart does next year for them. Poppy Cinco. Huh? Is that an island boy right there? Do you think LSU really has a chance to get Caleb Williams? The Gators are trash. I like it. So your first ever comment, I think I've seen you before. But anyway, your first ever comment is to put a Gator fan down. Plus. And Caleb Williams, you hear Wisconsin, you see USC, there's no telling, right? I have a feeling this Caleb Williams saga is going to start feeling a little bit like Aaron Rodgers, where, it's just going to be constant every day. Where is he going to go? How does he feel? Where are you going to, I just don't know. Oh, Fred, that's it's tough. Here's what I'll do, Fred, just for you a little bit later in the summer. I'll do a video doing just that. we'll see how all these transfers settle. Obviously, the Dart thing does open things up for other players. Poppy Cinco says, who's better, Burrow or Tebow? Really? Really, Poppy Cinco? Really? Obviously, Tebow had the better career. I don't think really any college quarterback had a better statistical overall career than Joe Burrow. You can make, and then Tim Tebow. You can make a case for Baker Mayfield and a few others, right? But Joe Burrow is a better college quarterback, right? Yeah, Michael, and that's the thing, they really ran Corral a lot. Burrow had one great season. Forget the 10-win season in an archaic offense. Forget that. That was nothing. No, the right answer, though, is Burrow is better than Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow undoubtedly had a better career. So if you want to discount a one-year wonder, go right on ahead, right? If you want to include the entire career, Tim Tebow clearly had a better career, right? He won, 11 games his last two seasons, which is really good, right? 11 plus games his last two seasons. I give Tebow a lot of credit. He's one of the best college players of all time, right? But Joe Burrow was better at his peak. I would put it at about 35, 40. Skipper says, in the grand scheme of things, all that matters is you're a good person. There you go. Tim Tebow in the Philippines doing the missionary work. Go right on ahead, Tim. It's a good question, Fred. I do think at some point Lane is going to go elsewhere, right? But, as far as college football is concerned, if you take your LSU fandom out of it, it's better for the sport that Lane stays at Ole Miss, right? It's cool seeing him make a school relevant. I love a random Steve McNair reference. I love it. I was thinking about him earlier today, actually. I have an Air McNair jersey. I don't know where it is. But those teams are so much fun. Air McNair and Eddie George, right? RIP. It's kind of funny. We've talked about a lot of legendary people that we loved, right? Air McNair at Alcorn, and then Colt Brennan at Hawaii, and Joe McKnight at USC. It's just sad, right? We talked about all those guys. I don't know, Johnny Five. The Arch Manning thing is just going to be so nuts, right? Here's the thing, here's the thing about the Arch Manning recruitment. Okay, we have to be honest about it. It's going to be a circus, and it has nothing to do with Arch. It's one of those weird scenarios where, LSU is a big brand. All right. LSU is one of the biggest brands in college sports. LSU is one of the iconic and most notable brands just in sports in general, right? You think purple and gold, when you think college, LSU makes you feel something. That's why, we have a bunch of European viewers, because, a lot of people feel the same way about LSU. They feel a soccer kind of vibe, right? A European football kind of vibe. Go Liverpool. So what's interesting about Arch Manning's recruitment is the last name of Manning is as big of a brand as LSU. As many of you know, Manning is the most iconic name in football, right? So it's a thing. And, you see Arch Manning's name on First Take in all these national shows. It's just going to be a whole different thing. And then, we have this debate all the time. Is he overrated because of his last name? And I don't know. All right. As many of you know, I don't like to really judge a quarterback until I see their senior year of high school tape. There's some senior high school quarterbacks I look at and I'm like, what are we supposed to be looking at here? And then there are some other like senior high school quarterback tape, and I'm like, holy crap, this kid is underrated. And as many of you know, there are so many 3-star quarterbacks that turn out to be great because there's just so many different things that goes into being a great quarterback, right? Quarterbacks mature at different ages. Quarterback is such a mental position, and it's probably the most mental position in sports, as far as reading and processing information. And it's at the same time your head is getting bashed in, at the same time your brain doesn't quit forming until the age of 25. I don't know, it's all like deep philosophical stuff, whatever. So, as far as quarterback evaluation, I don't think anyone really knows, right? It's rare where like you see, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is like that great, but it was pretty clear he was like the guy in his class. Like it's clear just watching it, but it's never really that clear with anyone, right? When you go back and look at Patrick Mahomes' high school tape, you're like, what the F am I watching? And you're like, wait, how did people who get paid to do this for a living rate him a 3-star? How is that even possible? Same thing with Johnny Manziel. You just don't know, right? You just don't know. I try and do both, Pirate. Once again, most of the access we have are highlight reels. So I shared this earlier and I'll share it again. I'm lucky to have friends in the coaching industry that if I need some tape to look at, I'll look at it, right? It's rare, though, you can have full tape of a game. So most of your evaluations come from highlight reels, okay? And you get such small samples of these players anyway, right? One thing you never see in a high school recruit, especially for a quarterback, you never see their stats, right? You just see their star ranking. You have to go look up their stats, and those stats sometimes can't be reliable. So, yeah, it's hard to make your own personal evaluations just based on highlight reels. I take a look at their stats. I take a look at where they played, how they played. A lot of my quarterback evaluations changed, honestly, with Max Johnson, right? When I really started to get into trying to learn more about quarterback mechanics, I started learning more about their high school careers and what that could potentially tell us about their success at the next level. So it's very interesting. LSU fans need to thank the NCAA for the transfer portal. Okay, cool. Yeah. As if LSU is the only school that has benefited from the transfer portal. But no, CJ, you make a good point. I don't think you should thank the transfer portal as much as you should thank the new rule where you can sign up to 32 guys, right? So that obviously changed a whole lot. There's no truth to that. Lane is not going to get the Saints job. That would be one of the few jobs he would have absolutely positively no shot at getting. Not with that ownership group, not with the GM staying. There's just no way that they would go in that direction. I might get old takes exposed on that because Lane trolled us that he was going to New Orleans or whatever. He's not. No, that's not what they would do. ESPN admitted they shouldn't even be star rating kids. All they watch is highlight reels. Yeah, but I mean, you know, you're going to rate a kid, right? It doesn't matter what position. It's impossible to sit and watch every one of their snaps. Watch Myles going to the Saints. And on that note, we'll make a last call. So if you're new, as many of you know, we'll keep the live stream. If you're not new, you know this already. But if you are new, I'm happy to keep the live stream going. If we get a super chat, I haven't got a super chat in a while. So if we get a super chat, we'll keep the live stream going all night. Once again, your donations go a long way. This is my only job. Or that's what I do full time. So your donations do go a long way. We had a bunch of people join the t-shirt club. So yeah, heard Les Miles is going to the Saints. Huh? So I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can. Chris Jones was a 2-star until the 8th game of his senior season. It is kind of crazy, right? So we haven't talked a whole lot about different recruits. They, there's so many late bloomers during this late signing period. There was a Jalen defensive back out of Waxahachie, Texas. I got an offer, and he might commit to LSU. But this is just simply impossible. If your job is to rate a kid, then yes, you should watch every second of film on a kid or get out of that business. There's just no way you could devote the resources to that, right? So, I go, the offensive coordinator I was with earlier, he showed me how to actually access the tape. And the first thing, it is hard to have enough space on your computer to download the film, buy the storage on the Huddle app, whatever, to watch every last snap. It's harder than what it would seem. I do agree, though, with this gamer that the evaluation should be more thorough based on what they actually do on a football field. Now, those evaluations, though, are heavily weighted by who they're actually playing against, right? The defenses that they are facing. But I do believe, gamer, that their tape should be more heavily evaluated than, let's say, an Elite 11 camp or whatnot. All right, so Dorsey is just doing every troll in the book. Children's hospital money. Coach O banging. I hate it when people troll. It's what we have different fans from different fan bases, but just the constant trolling, right? Where the children's hospital thing, once again, it was bad. It was a bad look for the university. LSU should have done a better job with that. With that said, that was a rogue booster, and LSU self-imposed the sanctions. I'm not absolving that. That's obviously really bad, but people, of course, misconstrue that story all the time. It's just annoying. It's It's just annoying. If you're going to troll, at least be creative. And he was just going down the list of the trolls, right? And of course, it sucks to be a Florida Gator, right? You notice I don't ever troll back. I mean, there's so many different trolls you can make towards a Florida Gator, right? What is it like knowing someone chunked a cleat? A cleat is the reason why. And I'm sure it is especially painful knowing that Evan McPherson, who makes every clutch kick for the Cincinnati Bengals, missed the only clutch kick that Florida really needed him to make in that fog game, while our kicker actually made it from Florida's own logo. It doesn't make any sense, right? I don't get trolls of other fan bases because there's so much ammunition on every school. We have it. Everyone has it. Yeah, the OBJ thing, whatever. I don't really even think that ban is real. I just don't. I think if OBJ walked to campus or walked to the facility, they're not going to say, nope, you can't come here. Of course, they're going to let OBJ on the daggum campus. Sip! MLB the show, really? Ha. Well, all right, guys. It was a fun live stream. I'm sorry, Sip. We do have to get out of here. God, look. Everybody's joining late. Caucus! Round of applause for Caucus. You see, Sip G and Caucus. Sip G. Sorry, Carter. I got caught up playing video games. Caucus. Sorry, Carter. I got a promotion at our job. Whatever the reason may be, it's okay. Go live your life. But Sip G, really? I would be fine if you said, hey, Carter, I got caught up playing NFL Blitz, or I got caught up playing Sega Genesis or Super Smash Brothers. But MLB The Show? Really? Really? MLB The Show? Congrats, Caucus. I hope your celebration was fantastic tonight. And I appreciate both of your support of the channel. In particular, Caucus, because he is rocking the PHL bands and the PHL cards. I freaking love it. Good stuff. Sip G, who are you playing with? Were you pitching with Clayton Kershaw, Sandy Koufax? Me and my girl got good news today, and now she's asleep. What was the good news? Sip? Don't. There we go. Boom. We got a super chat, so we're going to hang out for a little bit longer. Why not? Caucus, you can ask me any question you want. Sip, what was the good news? I've got to know, Sip. Oh, nice, Sip. Congratulations, man. Good stuff, man. That's great. I'm proud. I don't know if you're a dad already, but you're going to join. It's confirmed. You're joining the Super Dad Club on PHL. It's a super big club. There you go. Congratulations, Sip. All right, Hammers, we'll see you. Congrats, man. Boba Fett night, Trey. Everybody's joining in now at 10:15. That's such an awkward time. If we get Perkins and Matthews, oh. Michael, I love it, man. So you're NIL and me based on their decisions. I like it. Jared, you're missing it, man. Sip G is going to be a part of the dad club. Caucus got a big job. Here you go, man. So Sip, I'm dedicating this live stream to you, man. Congrats. There you go. Shout out to you. Boba Fett's good. Well, I'm not T-Bob. I'm not the Star Wars guy. Hitting the O-line recruits hard. Let's get it. There you go. Well, congrats to you, Sip. Once again, this live stream is dedicated to you. And we will see you Saturday night. I kind of wanted to move the live stream to Sunday, but we're all going to be watching NFL. So Saturday night, we'll see you. I think we're going to have to push. We might have to push it back to 9 on Saturday. Haley and I have to do our Valentine's this weekend because my next 2 weekends are going to be booked. So we are going on our Valentine on Saturday, and she said I could still do the live stream. I might have to push it back. So, I've been traveling some lately, so I got to do what Haley says. Pork carnitas? Wait, my customer today was named Barbara Fett. I'm sure she's gotten that her whole life. I'm glad you didn't, Jared. That would be such a bad dad joke moment. Worse than our Sip, you missed it. Caucus, you missed it. We dropped the best dad joke of all time. There you go. Denim, denim, denim. Ha, 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 ha. I love it, man. Attend LSU. Fred, I don't know. I haven't been to Alec Box in so long. I couldn't tell you. Skipper, I appreciate you. Your shirt should be coming in the mail soon, and you could change your avatar just like Jared. Caucus is part of the T-shirt club. His shirt is on the way. Look at you, Sip. Look at you. Look at you, Sip. Look at you. That's great, man. That's really cool. So, yeah, we'll see you Saturday night. Should be 8:05, but it might get pushed back for my hey, right? Because, she's my hey. And I don't know if we're going to do a video tomorrow. Depends if there is a news story or not. I might take tomorrow off. It is Power Hour LSU Bomb. Harold Perkins, JaCOBY Matthews. I need this big super chat from Michael G. And about to go crush some Oreos because tonight we did tacos night 3. Yes, I had tacos for a 3rd consecutive night tonight. Judge me all you want. And now it's some Oreo time, baby. Let's go.